Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Growth Club Central Victoria, webinar number 2. My name's Ewan Fletcher, and I'll be taking today's webinar. We had webinar number 1 last week, which was kindly taken by Mike Boyle, and this is a 3-webinar series. So on Friday, we've got Sarah Myers, which will be taking us through the 3rd part of the webinar. Right, so what are we talking about today? We're talking about adaptation. Last week was all about the survival side with your business and how the business was going from the point of view of dealing with the, sorry, just a technical issue here, how your business was going in the initial stages of the COVID-19 and the changes to your operations. So today, in regards to the adaptation stage, we're going to be looking at a few different things. So let me just flick through this. So here's today's roadmap. We're going to be talking about resetting your short-term vision. So with these times when everything's changing so quickly, it's really important to step away from that long-term view as the sole focus and actually bring it back to a short-term vision, 30, 60, 90-day visions to actually give your business some focus and keep you moving. Out of that short-term vision, we're also going to look at some of the opportunities that are presented by the changes that have been forced upon you. We'll look at challenging your model and how you need to adapt in these circumstances. Rightio. So resetting your short-term vision. Last week, Mike spoke in regards to Shackleton, Ernest Shackleton, and his Antarctica expedition, which a number of you might have heard about. So with this, this newspaper ad was one that was rumoured to have been run at the time when he was looking to put together his crew for his mission down to Antarctica. Now, why we've included this is this probably gives you a bit of a feel for what some business owners are going through at the moment. We're looking out the window today. We're sitting here in Buninyong. We've got quite a gloomy, overcast day, first day of winter. Central Victoria across the board. Bendigo further out west. We're moving into that time of year when winter's here. It's a bit cooler, and this Shackleton side of things is a good example of what some businesses owners are finding in these times. If I just read this out, wanted for hazardous journey, small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness, constant danger. It gives you that feel for what it was like back then and also for what some business owners are finding at the moment. So why do we bring up Shackleton? Well, the reason we're doing that is because Shackleton was an exceptional leader. He was exceptional at getting his crew through some very tough times. For those of you that are not familiar of Shackleton's story, he took his crew of people down to Antarctica on an expedition. His journey certainly didn't go as planned, to the point where his boat actually got caught and squashed via the Arctic ice, and he had to rapidly change his plans as he went on. Now, there's a lot of diaries that were kept of those times, of his crew members and himself. The interesting thing with Shackleton was he was such a good leader that all his crew spoke about were the hope, the positivity that he generated and how well he adapted to their circumstances. But yet, Shackleton's story, there was a lot of doubt in his mind as to whether they could get out of the situation. And, he really understood the harsh reality of where they were. So from a business owner's point of view, times are challenging for us all at the moment. Part of your role as a business owner and trying to make the most of these situations is actually putting out a positive vision, actually adapting to your circumstances just like Shackleton did, so that going forward, you can be putting your business in the best position. So as you'll see on this slide, strategy 1, never lose sight of the ultimate goal and focus energy on short-term objectives. So what we're saying there is don't abandon the ultimate goal, but in these times, you need to have these shorter-term visions to get your business through and to work out whether are you going to pivot or are you going to adapt to your circumstances. We'll cover off a bit later what I'm talking about there, but essentially, just to summarise, the adaptation being a small change to your business, something around the edge, as opposed to we're seeing some businesses out there do complete pivots, so completely change direction as to where they're going. So at the end of the day, this is a great picture, and it just gives a bit of flavour to the idea of it's still the same. You're still trying to go to the same mountaintop that you always were with your business. You're still trying to achieve the same goal, but just like hiking up Everest or anything like that, there's going to be landslides. There's going to be things that get in your road. And what we're saying here is you just need a new path to the summit. So this new path might just be changes to your business, and it might just be changes to the way you do things so that you still get to your end goal. But you may have just come about it from a different way. Right. So the short-term opportunities. So we've been a bit controversial here with short-term opportunities with the first point. We've used the word exploit, which is a bit of an emotive word, and probably just give you the context with what we're talking about there. So opportunities, when we're saying exploit, we're not saying to take advantage of people here. We're actually talking about the positive connotations with exploit, which is certain things have been thrown up in the last few months, which a number of businesses have been able to exploit and make the best of. An example there is the hospitality sector has been greatly challenged with the inability for their restaurants, cafes, pubs to be open. But what they have exploited really well in some cases is the ability for takeaway service to be offered, the ability for not just takeaway service of their existing offerings, but even to come up with, if I use the cafe example, even to come up with food packs for the kids while they've actually been on getting schooled from home. For cafes to offer a complete package for parents to be able to take home and present to their kids for lunch, it's taking pressure off the parents, and it's become quite a lucrative income stream for some of the hospitality businesses out there. So that's this type of exploitation we're talking about. Positive exploitation, changing your business. The second point, non-commercial opportunities that are present right now. What I wanted to talk to you about there was the fact that there's been times in the past where, as a business owner, you've probably wanted to make changes to your business or your model, but the reality is you've been stuck in the doing, the day-to-day of needing to get things done. You might have had a team of people working for you, but there still hasn't been the time to look at your model, make changes, make improvements. So the non-commercial opportunities are all talking about the things that you might call non-productive in the short term, like reviewing your business model, like changing the way you operate. This is exactly the time when you should be considering and looking at that and saying, what do we do as a business and what should we do a bit differently? And having if you've got a team of people or if you're a solo business owner, it doesn't really matter, but actually just spending the time at the moment, investing that time so that you can actually change the path of your business and change the way you operate it for the better. Because what we know is out of recessions come the biggest opportunities. Out of recessions, so many businesses have been launched and so many businesses have nearly gone to the wall, have changed a few things, and now we're seeing highly successful businesses. One example of this is Amazon. So now we know Amazon has a huge, global business, love it or hate it. They've been very successful about what they do. But when the GFC was around, Amazon weren't too far off actually going to the wall and going out of business. And what they did there is they made a few key changes to their business. Those changes allowed them to essentially reduce any working capital they needed in their business, because what their problem was they were growing quickly. But the problem with their growth is every bit of growth they had was taking more and more money to sustain. By making a few changes in their business, they've actually managed to create a business that uses very little working capital, very little cash to sustain it because of the payment cycle they've put in place. So now they've managed to grow into what they are with none of the issues of the past. Now, the only reason they discovered this was the GFC came along and suddenly they couldn't operate business as normal and they had to make some rapid changes. So what I'm encouraging you all to think about here is, out of COVID-19, what are the opportunities that you can focus on with your business? What are the changes you can make, either small or large, which will really set your business on a different path to the summit? Because once again, you're still aiming for the same goals, long-term goals this is, but you're having to change your path as you go along. Now, the fourth point here about winners and losers. The game of business, not everyone's going to win. That's the harsh reality. However, you can certainly be one of the ones that wins by adapting to the circumstances that are presented in front of you. So, and that's what this webinar is all about, is looking at what changes do you need to make for your business to get through to the next stage, which is your thrive and your prosper stage. And that's what Friday's webinar is all about. So you want to be a winner, need to adapt to your circumstances and move forward. And there's no laws against change. There's no government saying you cannot change your business. Each of you as business owners can make absolutely any changes you want within your business. So it's a matter of having an open mind and having a look at what those changes might be. Now, Warren Berger put out a great book, A More Beautiful Question. What I love about Warren's work is the open-minded, inquisitive nature of what his process involves. So with Warren's process, it's all about asking these questions which get you thinking in a more open-minded way. So, just to give you an example, why can't we successfully double our turnover? So last year, what did you turn over? Why can't we double that? That will get you thinking at a very big level. So rather than we cannot do this, why can't we? Then, what if we went online? So you're brainstorming. Part of this process, and this process is something you can do if you've got a team that work with you. This is a process you can do with your whole team. Have it in a non-judgmental way where there's, no debate, no answers. Just write down exactly as the process and as the feedback comes to you. And change the questions to, how might we achieve this? This is a bit of an illustration here of Warren's process and how this works. Now, what's been discovered is this how might we question is great, because the how side of things is a positive thing. It's assuming solutions exist. It's not why can't we, it's how might we. So it's a positive one. The might side of things, is all about ideas might or might not work. That's okay. We're just putting that out there as a question. And the implication with the we's obviously as a team, how can we get through this? So that's certainly a great thing to take your team through and look at a number of parts of your business to see if there's different ways you can do things, and to take this big picture thinking to your business. Don't just think about, why can't we increase our turnover 10%? Think big picture. Why can't we double it? Why can't we triple it? So those big picture approach will give you a lot better outcome. Now, another way to review where you're up to and to review where you're up to and I guess to get your business changing and adapting is why can't we? So this process, the way it works is to look at what if we went into a new market? What if we stopped doing half these services we offer as our business? And what if we started new ones? So the way this process works is, and I'll just take you through a bit of an example here. Apologise, I've gone one slide too far. So what if we use a standard example, if we're a restaurant, so we're offering dine-in only. Okay, so the question might be, why can't we offer takeaway food at the same quality as our in-house option? So then the what if might be, what if we half our revenue actually came from takeaway food from our restaurant? And then what we do next is, well, why not? Why wouldn't that work? What are the stops involved or the hurdles involved in that? And you work through that process. So once again, this is opening up your mind to try and look bigger picture, look at why can't we do something? There's a lot of opportunities out there as business owners that none of us have fully, have got the perfect business. We're all improving as we go, and having these open-ended questions and spending the time reviewing our processes is exactly what we need to be doing at the moment. Rightio. So talking about challenging your business model and some lessons learned from COVID. So COVID-19's brought a big new customer opportunity. Now, what's happened with COVID is it has turned things on its head as far as businesses have had the time to stop in a lot of cases and reflect on how they're tracking, what things they like to do, like what things are making the money, what things are not making the money, and also what things are working for the business and not. So we're at a point where there's really a crossroad for your business. You're at an adaptation or a pivot point. And what I mean by this is an adaptation would be you make minor changes to your business, and possibly with your business that might be enough for you to be able to go forward and still be successful. For some businesses out there though, it's going to require a complete pivot or change of direction. So I'll take you through a bit of an exercise here. This is called the Growth Matrix. It's a Mindshot product. And what we're looking at here is we've got the 4 squares and we've got on the left-hand side the markets. So, making changes to existing markets or accessing new markets. And also along the top, we've got existing products and new products. So there's only four ways to grow in business. The first one being market penetration. So that's basically your existing products into existing markets. It's basically getting more market share. So getting more share of the existing market that's out there. That's normally the most straightforward way to grow the business, but that can be quite a crowded market. So then the next step after that, just going down below that, is market expansion. So that's taking your existing products into new markets. So that might be new geographical markets. It might be new markets from the point of view that you've only sold bricks and mortar previously. Now you're going to go online and sell there. So that's market expansion. Up the top right, we've got product expansion. So I was talking earlier before about reviewing the products and services you offer as a business and say what's working and what's not serving us well. So product expansion, that really should be product or service expansion, because you might decide as a business owner that you'd like to bring out some new products and drop off some old ones. So that's existing markets, new product. Then down the bottom right-hand corner, we've got diversification. So that's new products into new markets. If you think about our adaptation and pivot model, this bottom right-hand corner is all about the pivot. That is a complete fundamental change to your business to go down there, as opposed to the top left green box, which is just an adaptation to your business. It's just minor tweaks at the side. So if we have a look at, if we just go through a bit of an example here. So with the core product, what we're going to look at is, I'll just bring these up, won't be a second. So we use an example of a corporate catering business. So what we're looking at here, if you can imagine at the moment, a corporate catering business that's gone through COVID-19. As we know, corporate catering businesses rely on businesses being open so they can provide lunches, morning teas, all that type of thing functions. So what we've got at the moment is we've got no corporate events happening. We've got issues with how do these businesses retain their chefs. The customers are now at home. So there's all these things going on for a corporate catering business. So how do we grow their market? So what we've got is some examples here. We've got engaged with Uber Eats. So once again, bringing in a contractor to do a takeaway option, because we've got, a clientele that's now sitting at home that would have previously been in the office eating their meals. We've then got the options of the outsourcing the kitchen. So that's, your home customers, they're cooped up in their house. They're sick and tired of cooking night after night. They can't go to their favourite restaurant. So a corporate catering business may well look to offer those dinner meals to their clientele. So this is just a good example of a business reviewing where they're up to, making some changes and looking at their markets and working through that. So with this product surround side of things, we're going to be asking a few questions here, looking at the customer's problems and needs through the next 6 to 12 months. So we've covered off on those as far as at the moment, the customer's problems for a lot of them is they're still stuck at home. They still like to eat healthy meals. They're tired of making them themselves. So this is where the outsourced kitchen might come in. The second question, what strategies and adaptations will stick and align to the vision post-COVID-19? So what this is about is looking at the way the corporate catering business operates, and just to say, how do the changes we've made, how do they fit with our sort of longer term vision? Are these sustainable changes? Are these what we want to keep? And as you keep making changes, while you're adapting as a business owners, what's actually working for the business and what's what are we going to have to rule out? So personal experience would say that over time, I've certainly found with clientele that a number of changes will be made on the fly as they need to through COVID-19. Some of these changes, though, they've decided just don't serve the business, may not be economically viable. A good example of that was when takeaway became an option for a number of hospitality businesses in town. There was a real great influx to that takeaway service. But within a few weeks, more and more hospitality businesses had opened up to that. And so part of the adaptation we certainly saw in the market is if your hospitality business wasn't one of the ones that had really good marketing, was available on the hours that suited your clientele, some of the ones actually did end up stopping takeaway because it just wasn't profitable. And then another question with this product surround is to look at what can we learn from other industries? You know, what best practices are out there? What innovation can we put in place? So you can see by working through this process, what we're doing is we're looking at all the different options available to a business, and you can do this with your business. We're trying to identify your customers' problems over the next 6 to 12 months, and we're just looking at how well these changes fit within your business. And finally, what's the best in the breed? So what are the best of your competitors doing in the industry? You don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel yourself. It's a matter of also looking at what your competitors are doing and seeing if there's certain bits that you can take on board from that. So a couple of final thoughts. Great businesses double down on their marketing and sales in a time of crisis. When you think this through, it makes perfect sense because you only have to look at the moment at what might be on TV, in the papers. There's been such a pullback on the marketing front for so many businesses that if you're doubling down on your marketing and sales efforts, you're actually getting double, triple the normal exposure that you would get. And also, as businesses reopen, as the economy gets firing again, you're at the forefront because you're at the front of your customers' minds. So I certainly encourage you to think about that strongly. The other thing with innovating is don't let perfection get in the way of good. So what this is about is there's such a thing as minimum viable product, or MVP. What that's all about is the idea that if you're in a business that makes products, make the smallest run possible to try and get that product out there and test it. If the market loves it, great. Jump on board, make more. But if it doesn't take off, don't let that worry. You just keep changing. But the key thing is don't worry about perfection. Just get the product out there, get the service out there, give it a try, because that's what's important at the moment is actually the activity, not the perfection. So just with today's webinar, I'm taking you through quite a few things there, but essentially we're in this middle adaptation piece is what I've wanted to cover off on today. So it's all about resetting your short-term vision, and the end goal, the path to the summit is changed, but the summit or the 3-5 year goals probably quite similar to where it was. It's just going to take a different path to get there. So exploiting the opportunities that exist at the moment is so important. You know, looking at what is there, looking at your best practice competitors, industry, other industries to see what you can do with your business. And then working through that what if, questioning process with your team, with yourself, just to explore what the future could look like. The next bit was we challenged your model about adapting, pivoting, and how you might go about that. So my message is just get out there, make the most of this time. Putting the time in now will make a huge difference to your long-term results from your business. So I certainly encourage you to do that. So what I'll do is I'll stick around now for a few questions. If you'd like to start start thinking of any of those and posting them. So the idea with the Growth Club model that we'll be offering when these webinars finish for those that want to is that we offer coaching support as well as a number of events during the year. And the whole idea of this is then Mike, Sarah and myself are here to support you, to bounce ideas off, to guide you through these times and to put your business on the best foot forward. So just got all our contact details here. The key thing to remember is this webinar is webinar 2 of 3. So this is a 3 webinar series, which if you follow through from start to finish, you'll actually have a pretty good plan for your business going forward. You'll have a lot of things to think about, and you'll also have some materials to work through, which will help you out. So next webinar is this Friday at 10 a.m. If you haven't seen the first webinar, or alternatively, if you haven't had time to work through the materials all come out after each webinar. So by all means, the webinars are recorded as well. So it's just a matter of working through those, and look forward to seeing you on Friday. I'll hang around for a few minutes if there's any questions, and we'll go from there, and thank you for attending.